Please remain standing for the singing of the Namibian National and the African Union anthems. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Your Excellency, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, President of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Erika Shafuda, the Minister of Finance, and other cabinet ministers present, Ambassador Dr. Kaire Mbwende, the Director General of the National Planning Commission in absentia, Advocate Emilia Mkusa, the Secretary to Cabinet and the Chairperson of the Namibia Institute of Public Administration and Management Council, Ambassador Patrick Nandaho, Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, senior government officials present here today, Dr. Liaki Angala, Corporate Leader and Chairperson of the Council of the Namibia University of Science and Technology, Mr. Flixman Samuel, Chairperson of the Public Enterprises Chief Executive Officers Forum, and members of the Forum's Executive Committee, distinguished chairpersons and CEOs of public enterprises, Mr. Vetumbwavi Mungunda, President of the Namibia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and NCCI CEO, Mr. Titus Nampala, Mr. Fabian Shanika, the Chief Executive Officer of the Namibia Chamber of Mines, business personalities invited to this very important engagement, Dr. Harold Murangi, Executive Director at the Namibia Institute of Public Administration and Management, and our host for today, Mr. Clive Kavenji, Chairperson of the NamPower Board, and our sponsor for today's event, alongside Mr. Kahenge Haulofu, Managing Director at NamPower. Students studying corporate governance and development studies who have been invited to this engagement, other special invited guests, esteemed members of the media, viewers of NBC One, as well as all the NBC digital news platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the first of its kind CEOS Strategic Dialogue with Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of the Republic of Namibia, convened under the theme Accelerating National Development, the role of public enterprises in delivering NDP 6 and driving economic growth, Your Excellency. At the heart of this strategic dialogue is the provision of a distinguished platform for leaders from government, from public enterprises, and very importantly, from the public sector to engage in constructive conversations on matters of national importance, fostering partnerships, drive innovation, as well as collective action towards a prosperous and a sustainable Namibia. My name is Denver Kisting, and I'm so deeply, deeply honored to be in your company today and guide you through this morning's proceedings. This is the inaugural CEO Strategic Dialogue with Her Excellency, hosted here at the Namibia Institute of Public Administration and Management, and we do hope for it to become an annual item on the national agenda. The key role that public enterprises play in driving economic growth cannot be overemphasized. This strategic platform seeks to cement the very close collaboration with and alignment to the shareholder as we continue to build our country for the benefit of both current and, very importantly, future generations. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates, without any further ado, I'd like us to please put our hands together for Mr. Flixman Samuel. He's the chairperson of the Public Enterprises CEO Forum for some welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kisting. And may I respectfully abide by the protocol that you so competently set, except only to say that I have been asked to run a public enterprise, and my chairman is here. And I would like to acknowledge Dr. Angel Tortesilas, who is a very prominent businessman in this country, having founded Pesca Nova Novanam, employing more than 2,000 people, and is the largest employer in the South. Let me begin by expressing our collective appreciation to Her Excellency for accepting our invitation despite the busy schedule associated with the high office of the presidency. Your Excellency, your presence here this morning not only signifies your commitment to serving the nation, but it also inspires confidence in all of us gathered in this room this morning and those joining us online. As we meet here this morning, permit me on behalf of our Forum of Public Enterprises CEOs to congratulate all CEOs, managing directors, or accounting officers who are joining us for the first time following their appointments as substantive accounting officer. I would like to say congratulations to you all, and as you lead with purpose and commitment to make an impact on the country's development aspirations, be assured that you have the full support of our forum and its entire leadership. Equally, I would also like to congratulate all chairpersons of SOE boards who have been appointed recently, because leadership is very key. Things will only happen when you have strong, visionary, committed leaders, and therefore John Maxwell, the leadership guru, was right when he reminded us that everything falls and rises on leadership. Your Excellency, we are gathered here at NIPAM, an institution that has played an important role in shaping the formation of the Public Enterprises CEO Forum. The idea to bring together public enterprises through accounting officers to promote collaborative efforts started right here at NIPAM a few years ago. And this is not a surprise because this institution should be the reservoir of knowledge and thinking. So therefore, here we are today. This forum is now a formidable body that brings together accounting officer of public enterprises to meet to discuss strategic issues related to governance, to deepen collaboration among public enterprises, and to learn from one another. The forum also serves as a collective voice, as we are doing this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the public enterprises were created by government as a shareholder, sole shareholder, to fulfill important functions in the Namibian economy and to provide effective services to the citizens of Namibia, investors, and tourists to our country. In other words, public enterprises that we lead are central to the economic development agenda of the country, and they are better positioned to play a meaningful role in ensuring economic growth. Therefore, CEOs of public enterprises hold positions of great responsibility. Equally so, we have a responsibility to ensure that public trust is enhanced in the institutions that we are asked to lead. I therefore call upon CEOs to build strong institutions, promote a culture of operational excellence, and leave public institutions stronger than we found them by the time we leave. It is my considered view that Namibians can only be proud of public enterprises if such institutions are managed responsibly and on the basis of good corporate governance, and that the business models are designed to improve performance, operational efficiencies, competitiveness, and quality service delivery to all citizens of Namibia. Most importantly, that we manage public enterprises in the best interests of the nation. As I conclude, I would like to speak a little bit about the triangle, the three bodies, if you like, the government, the board, the CEO, or management. So, government has a role, government creates SOE, it starts from there, but government's role does not end with the establishment of the CEO. The government assigns the mandate to the entity. It appoints the board to provide strategic leadership. Government as a shareholder also carries a corporate governance responsibility to support the sector by providing an enabling environment so that government's expectations are met in the final analysis. I am therefore pleased, Your Excellency, that the government, through its last cabinet retreat of December 2025 that was held here, took a decision to appoint boards on the basis of merit. We look forward to the full implementation of this noble initiative. This is critical given that the quality of leadership at the SOEs, its commitment, the love for the country, the passion, the essence of urgency, what needs to be done, all this will define our collective success. And where else management deals with day-to-day activities and has to ensure implementation of agreed strategies to achieve desirable outcomes. Furthermore, management must also innovate and bring proposals before board for consideration so that we can move our country forward. Given ongoing and a well-structured dialogue, as we are now doing, involving the government, the board, and management, we can strengthen the outcomes of the work that are performed by state-owned enterprises. Finally, it is really just to appreciate Your Excellency for accepting our invitation. And this engagement is really to assure, is our collective position to assure our government, as represented by the head of state and the head of government, as to what are we doing to move mountains. We have good plans, they are detailed, so that is basically what it is. And I speak here without fear of contradiction, that the NDP 6 in its totality, the details thereof, has been shared at various platforms of public enterprises. Every CEO, MD, accounting officer understands that these NDP 6 objectives, goals, have been inspired by the manifesto of the governing party. So that is really the essence of us to get together here to reassure our head of state as to what are we doing. With those few words, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Are we able to please give Mr. Samuel a proper round of applause? Mr. Samuel, thank you very much for that very important reminder that in the chief executive officers of public enterprises vests a very serious responsibility to leave the institutions in a better state than they had found them, than we had found them, in pursuit of economic growth and development. He deserves another round of applause, please. Your Excellency, we have decided, because you've graced us with your presence today, to invite not only the best choir in the land of the brave, not only the best choir on the African continent, but the best choir in the world on this 6th day of August 2026. Are we able to please put our hands together for the best choir in the world, the Namibia Revenue Agency Choir? Shall we please give the Namibia Revenue Agency Choir another round of applause? Your Excellency, I'm a man of my word. I did categorically state not only is it the best choir in Namibia, not only is it the best choir on the African continent, but it is indeed the best choir in the world. Thank you so much. And thank you also for the stand-in conductor, Commissioner Sam Shivute. Your Excellency, distinguished delegates, to deepen both our individual as well as our collective understanding of the context for the Public Enterprises Presidential Breakfast Dialogue, I now call on Dr. Liaki Angala, the chairperson of the NUST Council. Let's please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Director of Ceremony, particularly after very nice music. It's absolutely pleasing. The protocol has been set, and I don't want to go through that. I think it's important that we meet in this fashion as Namibians and as leaders in our capacity, particularly when we see that the world, there are two challenges that are facing the world now. There are many, but I want to mention two. One is crisis of leadership. There's a crisis of leadership in the world. Those that were supposed to unite the world are dividing the world. Our president likes to talk about the world running away from multilateralism. So it's important, therefore, for any country, including Namibia, to realize we are on our own. If we don't meet and plan and go, nobody will plan for us. The second challenge the world is facing is economic growth. The issue of unemployment is becoming strictly globally. The highest growing economy in the world is that of Guyana, about 14%, because of oil. The traditional leading country of economic growth, like China, they are all beyond 10% of the GDP. Unemployment is becoming a problem. The issue of immigration is also becoming a problem. So therefore, I find this setting very important for us to come here and talk to each other. For me, it's both an honor and privilege to deliver these opening remarks at this important CEO breakfast. Allow me therefore to express our sincere appreciation and commend you, President, for agreeing to come here by the invitation of the leadership of CEOS Enterprises. The significance of the president meeting directly with chief executive officers, MDs, chairpersons, cannot be overstated. Your participation, Comrade President, reflects your commitment to accountable governance, inclusive dialogue, and the critical role that the public enterprises must play in advancing Namibians' development agenda. Public enterprises are among the country's most important economic institutions. They are key drivers and strategic instruments for economic transformation, infrastructure expansion, industrialization, job creation, and service delivery. I thus applaud this direct engagement between the head of state and the leadership of public enterprises as it reinforces strategic alignment with our shareholder and it demonstrates the importance of these institutions in delivering national priorities and accelerating the implementation of NDP 6. Across the world, successful economies have demonstrated that well-governed and commercially sustainable state-owned enterprises serve as catalysts for economic transformation. China is one of the countries where state-owned enterprises plays a very important role. Norway, the Nordic countries, they found a module and a formula to work it out. State-owned enterprises provide a critical role in our society. They provide electricity, they provide water, they provide transport, logistics, aviation, communication, housing, finance, education, and many other essential services that are underpin economic activity and improve the quality of life for our citizens. Collectively, they represent one of government's most powerful instruments for delivering national priorities. In order to make sure that state-owned enterprises contribute effectively and to transform the economy, we must look what should be changed and what are the issues, what are the challenges. So as we gather here, we must take a holistic view of challenges facing public enterprises that will help us to ensure that the prescription we must prescribe will cure the disease. There is nothing dangerous for a medical doctor to prescribe wrong medicine. And that analogy goes all over the stream of our society, even the economy. As we all know, many of our public enterprises are facing structural, governance, strategic, and financial challenges. And the ability of the public enterprises to deliver on their expectations at times is constrained by these challenges, and that require collective action. We must also have the courage to change what can no longer work. Is it true that those public enterprises that we created 36 years ago, do we need all of them? Is it true that they must form in the manner and the style that they are now? Is it true that the governance architecture of them must be as they are? So if we don't address these challenges, we'll move not forward. So one of the challenge, if we need to transform our public enterprises, is aging infrastructure. Some organizations have structures designed decades ago and that no longer fit today's technology, today's market, or customer expectations. Much of the public enterprise infrastructure become costly to maintain and to service. And we have also been doing deferred maintenance and therefore become very expensive. So therefore we need, if we really have to contribute to NDP 6, we need significant investment in modernization, we need to digitalize and infrastructure renewal so that these public enterprises remain fit for purpose in a rapidly changing global economy. The other challenge we have to look at is policy and regulatory constraints. Certain policy and regulatory framework have not kept pace with evolving economic realities. While regulation is necessary to ensure accountability and safeguard the public interest, overly restrictive or outdated legislative framework can inadvertently slow decision-making, delay investment, discourage innovation, and limit commercial responsiveness. There's therefore an opportunity to review and modernize these frameworks to create enabling environment that balance sound governance with operational agility. Of course, one of the challenges, which always a present challenge, is financial viability. Many public enterprises continue to face significant financial constraints that limit their ability to invest, grow and meet increasing service delivery demands. Strengthening long-term financing, improving capital structures, and leveraging innovative partnership will be very critical. And I'm very happy that the Minister of Finance is here. Is it really the absence of money or the absence of the way to structure to get money? And sometimes we must also allow the public enterprises to be innovative and look way to fund their operations. So at the same time, government can create an enabling environment, but therefore public enterprises should be allowed to look at improving operational efficiency, diversifying revenues, becoming more agile and competitive. We also should look at our mandates. Some public enterprises have overlapping and conflicting mandates. A public enterprise might be expected at one and the same time to compete commercially in the market, but simultaneously to offer the same product to the public on social terms, which means a utility may be required to provide affordable services, but also we as a nation expect it to generate commercial returns. It cannot be possible. The other challenge, naturally, we cannot move if we don't have skills in the public enterprise. Many public enterprises are struggling to attract and retain specialists because public sector structures or salary structures may not compete with the private sector. This has resulted in some enterprises facing critical skill shortages or losing skills in key technical and emerging fields, limiting operational performance, innovation, and infrastructure delivery. Your Excellency, if there's one factor that we have been struggling with and that will ultimately determine the success or failure of our public enterprise, it is governance. Sustainable institutions are built on effective governance systems that provide strategic direction, accountability, ethical leadership, transparency, and prudent steward of public enterprises. Governance is not merely a compliance obligation. It is the foundation upon which institutional credibility, public confidence, and long-term sustainability are built. Strong governance enables public enterprises to deliver value consistently, attract investment. Namibia has undertaken significant reforms in the public enterprise sector over the years. While important progress has been made, the ideal governance architecture of public enterprises remains a work in progress. We at the Independence, we started with from line ministries providing oversight to commercial enterprises, and then moved to establishing a dedicated ministry for public enterprises. Now are we moving back to line ministries? I have an opportunity to live in both. We must discuss whether this is the best setting. It's not only in Namibia that's struggling with it. We had delegation that visited Singapore, Ethiopia to look at this. So we owe it ourselves to discuss these things properly. The dedicated public enterprise ministry brought up certain uniform behavior in governance, in appointment, and good. Comrade President, there's nothing wrong to move to line ministers. And at my time when I started, my first minister was Netumbo. Great leaders. And it does not need to impress you. Now, we have very young, dynamic ministers, very good, bright, well-educated. But when a chairman goes there, the first thing that minister tell you, remember, I'm your minister. I'm your cabinet minister. I don't need to be told that. You are the minister, that's why I'm in the right address. At the beginning, the discussion is not constructive. So because it comes personality. So it's important to make sure that we create institutions that does not necessarily depend on personalities. We must think this properly. Of course, there is a role for line minister to be there, but what I'm saying, let us discuss properly in order to bring public enterprise at the stage that they contribute. One of the challenges, of course, is what Fraxman called the triangle. The shareholder, the board, and the executive. This relationship seems to be very slippery. It's a major challenge. In the private sector, it's very clear. If a one Bible, Companies Act, that is the Bible, clear, fiduciary responsibility is very clear. Once you are a board member and you want to behave like a shareholder, you have missed it. And once you are a CEO and you want to behave as a chairman or that's the board, you have missed it. Each one needs to be in his own line, but those lines must be connected. So we must discuss this relationship so that to make sure that the triangle is properly managed. Unfortunately, it has been bringing the governance of public enterprises backward. Accountability and reporting. Good governance is not simply a compliance requirement. It is the foundation upon which public trust is built. Public enterprises must therefore remain fully accountable to the resources entrusted to them. This is a very scarce resources that the Namibian taxpayer gave to us as public enterprises. We must account for them. Transparency must become part of the institutional culture rather than merely institutional obligation. In particular, every public enterprise must prioritize the timely preparation and submission of audit financial statements and integrated annual reports to the shareholder. That's the only way the minister, through the parliament, account and report to the nation how the money given to the public enterprises is used. If we don't do that, we are not doing our work. So these reports are not administrative exercises, they are fundamental instrument of accountability. They demonstrate how public enterprises resources have been utilized, how risks have been managed, how strategic objectives have been achieved, and how value has been created for the people of Namibia. Strong accountability and transparent reporting strengthen public confidence. It improves governance outcome and reinforces investor trust in institutions. Let me say a few words to my colleagues, the chairperson of public enterprises and the CEOs. We are the custodian of institutions that belong to the people of Namibia. we have been appointed by the shareholder to be that custodian. The responsibility entrusted to us require integrity, professionalism, diligence, and sound judgment. I'm sure ministers and government become very frustrated when they give us that responsibility and we mess it up for our own personal benefit. So sound governance principle and our fiduciary responsibility requires us to act at all times in the best interest of the institutions we serve. Directors do not represent personal interest. They don't represent constituencies. They don't represent special groups. Their duty is to the institution itself and to the purpose for which it exists. Strong institutions are ultimately built by leaders who understand that public office and corporate leadership are responsibilities, not privileges. The future success of Namibia public enterprises will depend significantly on the quality of leadership, on the governance system and commitment we bring to the roles. If we appoint non-competent people to lead our public enterprises, what do we expect? We must therefore continuously endeavor to do our best for our organizations, placing institutional interests above our personal interests, and ensuring the long-term sustainability, credibility, and success of our entities. What Namibian public hate is infighting between the board and CEOs. We must find ways to solve misunderstandings, to solve problems between us, so that they don't even go out to the public. And that is we as chairpersons, we as directors and CEOs must do to ensure that there's credibility and acceptance of our leadership in the public enterprises. Let me say a little bit commitment to the country's development agenda. Today's engagement provides an opportunity to assess whether our institutions are fully aligned with priorities of NDB 6, and whether we are delivering measurable value to the Namibian people. Government provides strategic direction, while public enterprises are responsible for execution. When this partnership is aligned, we strengthen our collective ability to deliver sustainable economic growth and improve the lives of our citizens. Allow me to conclude by thanking our President, thank you, Comrade President, for your leadership and continued support. And thank all chairpersons, CEOs, and the MDs that are here. I believe if we strengthen our governance, uphold merit, build capable institutions, maintain accountability, and pursue excellence in execution, public enterprises will continue to serve as a powerful engine of economic growth, industrialization, and national development. Through strong boards, capable executives, and accountable institutions, and a pragmatic and enlightened shareholder, we can create lasting value for current and future generations. I therefore would want to call upon all of us to use the opportunity to talk. I don't think the president wants stories. I think the president wants to hear how do we take this country through public enterprise forward and transform. Maybe let me end with a story that was aligned to China. In the 1970s, China was the poorest country in the world. And then the Communist Party said, how do we transform this economy of over a billion people? And the Communist Party has only 100 million members. So it started culminating with Xing Jinping, who in 1978, who say, how should we transform China? And when they were sitting in the Politburo, one quiet member of the Politburo came up and said, comrades, if we want to transform our country, we here in the Politburo as comrades, we must speak truth to each other. We must be honest to each other. Comrades, if we want to transform our economy through public enterprises, we must speak truth to each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angala. We concur with you that the presence of Her Excellency at today's engagement does underscore her unwavering commitment to accountable governance. So thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you also for the reminder, Dr. Angala, that governance extends beyond compliance. It's not merely a tick box exercise. When Dr. Angala grabbed a bottle of water, I knew that he had woken up this morning and decided not to mince his words. And we're very happy you didn't mince your words, Dr. Angala. We need to hold space for the strides that we have made and that we continue to make as public enterprises. But we must also hold space, Your Excellency, for what no longer works, what must be changed, and what must be effected. An evidence-based approach ensures targeted intervention where necessary, particularly in pursuit of our goals of driving economic growth and development. Therefore, to walk us through a consolidated strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis of public enterprises, and very importantly, the impact on the implementation of NDP 6 and Namibia's economic growth, I'm delighted to call on Madam Patty Karwai-Martin, spokesperson of the Public Enterprises CEO Forum, to walk us through that. Shall we please give her a big round of applause?
Say again. This one is forward. I won't go back with them. Okay. This is yours. Sorry. Just thank you so much, Master of Ceremony. I remain on established protocols. Her Excellency, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, President of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Minister of Finance, Madam Erika Shafuda, Namibia Chairperson, Mr. Kisting, I also need to recognize you, and then the Chairperson of the Forum. Thank you so much. Today I'm representing the Forum as a spokesperson, so I'll be taking you through the prepared public enterprise readiness to support NDP 6 implementation. Thank you so much for everyone who has participated, and I'm sure you're very excited to see the results. So on the agenda, it looks like a long agenda. Her Excellency, it will not be that long. I'm an accountant by profession, so I'll use numbers to express myself. So it will, we will take you through the purpose of the survey methodology and participation of the enterprise, enterprises. We will also then go through the overall readiness of the NDP 6. We will take you through the main strength in public enterprises, internal challenges affecting performance, key opportunities and strength of the NDP 6. We will also, in conclusion, we'll come to the SWOT analysis as well as key recommendations. Now, as I'm starting the survey, before I start, I want to state that state-owned enterprises collectively forms a pivotal role to support economic growth, which is ultimately the NDP 6. So state-owned enterprises collectively forms a pivotal role to support economic growth of Namibia, and state-owned enterprises contributes more than 30% of the GDP of Namibia. So that is quite a huge number, and that shows you that this is a very important group of people that we are, and we are the extension of the arm of government. So this is why this survey is very important to see how we are doing. Okay. So the purpose of the survey is to, firstly, to assess the readiness of public enterprises with, in terms of how we support the NDP 6 implementation. We also want to determine the alignment of the strategic plans with national development priorities. Identify the gaps, identify the strengths, weaknesses, threats, and also supports that are needed, and ultimately also inform policy. Provide evidence for policy planning, monitoring, and targeting interventions. Now, the survey methodology we have used. Our findings were analyzed using descriptive statistics and thematic analysis. So the statisticians in the room will be able to explain that. My chairman is also, he's specialized in strategy, so I think he is always guide us in terms of when we're looking at our strategy, whether it's aligned to, his questions are always, are we aligned to NDP 6 and. So yes, so we have had 78 public enterprises in Namibia surveyed, 49 enterprises responded, which overall give us a 63%. Now, when we get that results, the statistician in the room, Mr. Alex, he said he was not 100% happy. He wanted an 80% response rate, but he gave us the go-ahead to say, you may proceed. So thank you for that. So the survey covered readiness, alignment, institutional capacity, collaboration, and support requirements. So who participated? So now you can see the picture there. We have had 42% from the non-commercial public enterprises. So they were the larger representation of respondents of the groups. We had only 26.5% of the commercial public enterprise. We would have wanted more representation there as well. From the regulatories, we had 18%. 18.4%, which is also a good representation. And then extra budgetary funds and other enterprises, we had a 6.1% response. So the key message here is, Her Excellency, is the survey captured a broad cross-section of the Namibia's public enterprises landscape, so the results are representative. So overall readiness, I think this is one of the most important one of the rest of the survey, that we as state-owned enterprises sitting here today, we are saying we are ready, we are showing a strong readiness base, but there's a moderate, you will see there's a 40.8% of that's saying we are very ready. Then we have 34.7% that are saying we are ready. So those two groups are forming the 75% of enterprises that's saying we are very ready to support the NDP 6, which is a good representation. However, when we add the moderate group, which is 22.4%, that gets us to over to the 90%. But the moderate group is, what they are saying is that we need support. They need targeted interventions in order to reach to where the others are saying we have aligned our strategy to the NDP6. And this is, Her Excellency, this is very good for us to give the true picture of who is needing more support and how can we, as a state-owned enterprise forum, we are saying we will analyze the study further and we will make sure we do the necessary interventions. Strategic alignment with NDP6. Here we're saying more than half of the respondents indicated that the strategic plans are fully aligned with NDP6. I think this is a very good indication. And then we have 32.7% of the enterprises, they report the plans that are mostly aligned. So that's an interesting one because you should be either fully aligned or no, not aligned. But I'm sure maybe there are some certain reasons for that, and that's what we now as state-owned enterprises will have to go in and make sure we help those enterprises that need that support. So alignment creates a foundation for coordinated implementation, and that will also result in performance monitoring. So, and I think that's where Her Excellency wants to see that we are delivering, that we can get that 30% contribution to GDP, most probably a little bit higher. So the next one that we have there is the main strength of public enterprises. Now here we've got quite an interesting results where we have infrastructure assets, innovation, technology, and skilled workers. It looks like as if we were all sitting in one room. All of us are saying 12.2%. Is what the percentage of readiness there. But what is quite highlighting on this one is strong governance and leadership was leading strength, and cited also by over 41% of the state-owned enterprises. So that's very good to see that many of us in this room do think that governance is key for us to achieve whatever we want to do. So, and the other three, I think it's the existing contribution to national development is perceived as significant by many respondents. And then shareholders' collaboration provides a platform for coordinated delivery that is also much more needed for us. Excellency, for us to achieve, and I think Dr. Leake has mentioned that they need to, that triangle of the chairperson, the board, and the ministers, we need to work together. That is a very important statement that has been made by Dr. Leake. And it's also for us as state-owned enterprises to make sure that we work with our leaders to achieve a better Namibia. And I think it has been said earlier that we all want to see that the men on the street benefit, the livelihood, the benefit goes straight to the public. So the next one that I have here is the internal challenges affecting performance. Now this is a key one. We have very, very important one that's coming out of here. What is the internal challenges that are facing or affecting performance in state-owned enterprises? And the key, and it came out very strongly at 63.3%. Of state-owned enterprises are citing limited financial resources as the top internal weakness. Now, financial constraints, it has also been mentioned earlier that skill shortage and governance challenges were cited as less frequently, but remain important implementation risks. They are, and Dr. Leake has mentioned it, aging infrastructure is at 14.3%, but very, very important, limited financial resources. Now on this one, I would like to say it's like we really need to be creative. It doesn't mean that when we say limited financial resources that we want to come to Her Excellency or to Minister of Finance and say, please give us handouts. I think the challenge here is, I can even relate to when Namibia was challenged at some point where we said we do not want to go to Treasury to ask for funds. So it's also important for us as state-owned enterprises to be creative and to say, how can we amongst ourselves create avenues where financial that we look at this financial where we're saying limited financial resources is key. So how can we also find solutions that will make sense for us to achieve our objectives? External threats. Did I move now too? Let me just quickly move one back. Before, what did I do now? Yeah, before the, sorry, just quickly. Okay, and then we have key opportunities to strengthen. Say again? The threats, I was at the threats. Where's the threats now? Yeah, okay. So then it means the slides are, but in a different order. So the external threats, which is, we've just looked at the internal threats. Now it's now on the outside, what is it that makes us not to perform? Now here, I think Dr. Liake also mentioned that the world out there there's quite a lot happening, and then sometimes, especially in my industry, that happens a lot, that someone says something outside, or there's a war happening but it impact on my business as Namibia Reinsurance. So that's where it's coming in. So market conditions, we are saying we are at 2%, so that is not one of the bigger challenges, but one of the biggest challenging, once again, is funding. 51% of the enterprises cite funding as the main external threat. So that goes with saying that financial stability and regulatory efficiency, that's the other one that was cited, are therefore critical to successful implementation. Now you will see the regulatory constraint. So it's very important for us. The law makes the regulatory state-owned enterprises, they play quite a key role, and as well as government. And then climate and environmental risk has also shown quite a low percentage there. Now let me see. Contribution to national development. Here we're saying, this is a part of the self-assessment, the extent of the contribution towards national development. We're saying 46.9% contribute to a very significant extent. This is where now we're asking the state-owned enterprise, how do you see yourself, your contribution towards the economy? 30% are contributing significantly to that extent, and there are 8% that are feeling, yes, they are doing it, but it's not that, it's to a limited extent. So the results show that public enterprises view the mandates as strongly connected to the NDP6 and the broader development agenda, which is good. Then we have stakeholders engagement and collaboration, which is another key area, where we have said, we're saying good at 49%. Now you will see there's another item that I think we would want to move to, that one where you're saying very good. At this point in time, we are at good, which is 49%, and fair at 30.6%. So improved coordination can strengthen implementation, speed, accountability, and delivery outcomes. And I think the chairperson has mentioned the challenges that we are facing, and it's reflected there in that results. Government support needed. Excellency, this one is very important. We do need government, as I have said earlier, that we are an extension of government. So government support should prioritize investment, enabling regulation and institutional capacity building. So here we have 46.9% that's saying they identify increased capital investment as the most critical government intervention. And there's a 28.6% that's saying point to policy and regulatory reforms as a key support requirement. Now this is an overall summary of the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I will just let is now summarizing the survey as to what has come through. On the strength, what has come through is high readiness. The state-owned enterprises are ready. They are ready to serve the economy. They are ready to deliver on the mandates that are given to them. So there's strong governance. We have development contribution and stakeholders collaboration. That is what we are having already as a strength. We need to leverage on those strengths. Then on the weakness side, it's coming through again. We have limited financial resources. We have aging infrastructure, skills gaps, and uneven institutional capacity. Opportunities, NDP 6 alignment. It's an opportunity for us to see how we can better align and make sure that we still deliver. And I think it has been mentioned that there are certain some state-owned enterprises that can work stronger together, and those are opportunities that we need to identify. Capital investment, policy reforms, stronger monitoring systems, and digital transformation. It's very important, I mean, without saying that the digital transformation is a key opportunity for us to do our business better. And then the other one, the last one, that's the threats. So this is, once again, coming through the themes is the funding limits, regulatory constraints, climate risk, and weak coordination. Key recommendations that's coming out from what is our priority actions to accelerate NDP 6 and to result in better delivery. We're saying we need increased capital investment for enterprises with mandates directly linked to NDP 6. We need to strengthen policy and regulatory reforms to improve decision-making and implementation speed, improve strategic alignment between enterprise plans, annual targets, and NDP 6 priorities. We need to build skills in technical, financial, monitoring, and project management areas, enhance monitoring and evaluation through clear indicators and reporting timelines. And then lastly, strengthen stakeholders coordination across government, regulators, and boards and enterprises. So all of us need to come together. So in conclusion, public enterprises are critical delivery partners for NDP 6. That is just, I've picked up that long time ago, that in Namibia you cannot do business without being part and parcel of the public enterprise space. So the sector shows strong readiness and meaningful alignment with national priorities. The readiness must be converted into measurable implementation results. There's an urgent need is needed for financing, infrastructure, regulatory barriers, skills, and coordination. And then finally, with targeted support, public enterprises can strengthen inclusive growth, service delivery, and national development outcomes. I thank you.
Shall we please give Madam Karoy Martin a massive round of applause? I think there's overarching consensus in this room, Madam Karoy Martin, that public enterprises are indeed critical delivery partners as far as NDP 6 is concerned. Now, to build on the foundation laid by Madam Karoy Martin, I would like to call on Mr. Andrew Kanime, Chief Executive Officer of the Namibian Port Authority, Madam Rosalia Martens-Ausiku, Chief Executive Officer at the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, Mr. Desmond van Jaarsveld, Chief Executive Officer Transnamib, Mr. Abraham Nehemia, Chief Executive Officer NamWater, and Dr. Fidelis Moazi, Chief Executive Officer at the Namibian Agronomic Board, to join me for a short, impactful discussion. Shall we please give them a big round of applause? Very well. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start with you, Mr. Kanime. You traveled all the way from the Namibian coast. So we'll prioritize you, and you brought us some cooler weather this morning. Shall we please give him a round of applause for that national duty? The survey that Madam Karai Martin walked us through just now shows that most public enterprises, 75%, if I'm correct, Madam Karai Martin, consider themselves, Mr. Kanime, ready or very ready to support NDP 6's implementation. What specific initiatives are you, as NAMPORT, doing in order to ensure that this readiness translates into measurable national development outcomes? It's one thing for us, 75% at least of us, to indicate that we are ready or very ready. But what are the initiatives on our part to ensure that that translates into tangible national development outcomes?
Good morning, Your Excellency. Good morning, Denver. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and shed light on what it is that we are actually doing to contribute to the realization of NDP 6. Maybe just as a start, I noted with interest, obviously from the survey results, that 75% of us are saying are more than ready to support the realization of NDP 6. Maybe I must really just hasten to say that I think the public out there are actually not interested in whether we are actually ready. They are actually interested in real outcomes, and therefore not just for us to be ready. Now, if I move specifically to NAMPORT in terms of what it is that we are doing, maybe let me just start by saying we have in place two of our governance instruments, which is the Integrated Strategic Plan and also the Annual Business and Financial Plan, which are directly aligned to NDP 6. As part of these two governance instruments, allow me maybe just to highlight 3 or 4 specific initiatives that we are actually implementing to contribute to the realization of NDP 6. Number one, we really focusing our energy and resources in expanding and modernizing port infrastructure. I think it's common cause that we have got emerging industries, especially the energy industries, specifically the oil and gas and also the green hydrogen sector, that require investment in port infrastructure to enable them to actually come to fruition. So we've got deliberate measures into place, deliberate and targeted interventions to obviously ensure that we invest and expand and modernize. We saw there is aging infrastructure. We are indeed also suffering from aging infrastructure, and hence our intent is really to expand and modernize. Number two, what also came out clearly, I think, out of the survey here is that one of the key challenges is funding. Now, NDP 6 itself, for its full implementation and realization, it is estimated that it will require at least more than 500 billion Namibian dollars over a period of 5 years. And it goes without saying definitely that government alone would not be in a position to avail that kind of capital, given the competing priorities within the country. So one of the things that we are doing at NAMPORT is really to prioritize mobilizing access to private capital. We cannot run to the shareholder for some of these resources. We are in a process, especially of transitioning towards becoming a landlord port model. What that means is that our focus will be more on creating an enabling environment and a regulatory certainty, and then allowing private sector to actually come and invest in the port infrastructure. So our intent is then to ensure that we obviously combine public purpose with private investment. And in fact, one of the key flagship projects that we have already implemented at the Port of Walvis Bay is obviously the concessioning of the new container terminal, which have allowed us to bring on board private capital and enabling then us to ensure that we have sufficient resources to invest in the public infrastructure and also in a position then to provide efficient service. Maybe the third element really, I think it's good to talk about port capacity and infrastructure, but the third element also, Namibia has a strategic aspiration of becoming a regional logistics hub. And in that regard, we are collaborating through the Walvis Bay Corridor Group, where we have private sector and public sector coming together to identify potential challenges and inefficiencies along the various corridors that we have that connect us to the regional market, allowing us then to ensure that we actually increase trade. And maybe for the sake of time, let me just say it's not so much about investment than in infrastructure. It's not so much about increasing trade through efficient corridors. The reason we are actually doing this is because we want to support NDP6. NDP6 advocate for economic growth. NDP6 advocate for increased trade. NDP6 advocate for job creation.
Thank you.
When we invest in capacity, when we increase trade, we directly contribute to that because we enable the various industries, especially across the various logistic value chain. So copper coming from DRC, for example, or Zambia, when it enters Katima Mulilo, it starts contributing to the income, to the fiscus of this country.
Thank you, Mr. Kanime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for walking us through some practical initiatives on the part of your entity already underway to help us accomplish that goal. Madam Martins Hausiku, whilst stakeholder collaboration has been highlighted as one of our strengths, weak coordination amongst us is a potential threat. How can we enhance and deepen that collaboration so that it is executed in a more coordinated fashion?
Thank you. Good morning, Your Excellency. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. Thing of technology, you must be able to use it. Thank you. So I believe that the answer lies in this room. Pardon me. I believe that the answer lies in this room. I think we spoke, I was listening to Dr. Liake speaking that public enterprises were created with various mandates, and that's probably also the problem because we have different mandates, we take it so seriously that we have to focus only on the mandate that we were given. And I've mentioned this before, we need to find crossroads, we need to find synergies so that we are better equipped to deliver on the NDP6. For instance, one of the solutions could be that we could cluster public enterprises based on the key deliverables or the key performance areas of the NDPs, and we group ourselves to deliver to those KPAs. We actually can also indicate which is the lead agency, and we come together, we plan together, but we must start with our ISBPs. At this point, I was also listening keenly to Patty's presentation. At this point, there are those public enterprises that say that they are not fully aligned yet. But there are some that are aligned. What is stopping us from coming together, not being called by Her Excellency the President, but coming together like this? And we say, okay, who is aligned, who is not, who can help who so that we are all aligned? That's the first step. And once we've done the alignment, we cluster ourselves together, and within ourselves we'll say, okay, for this group, Prof. Kenneth is the lead agency. We're going to work on this, here are our timelines, and we put our resources together. Because we are raising an important issue that the resources are constrained. They will be constrained for a while. But when we put our resources together, we are stronger and we are able to deliver better on these KPAs. But also, most importantly, I think it's a disease in Namibia. We're very good at putting good documents together, good strategies together. It's delivery. We need to deliver, and we need to track performance. That's something for me that's non-negotiable. And once we track performance, we must report because we are also accountable to our boards. That's how we'll garner the supports of our boards. Because for some of you, when we visit you, you say, no, we have to go back to our board. Our board might not support because this is not part of our mandate. But when you start giving reports and you account for the good work that you are doing, I believe that the board will also support you. And then to the board, and I'm quite grateful that the board is here. Allow that environment for innovation, allow that environment not to limit your accounting officers to only the mandate, but they should look beyond that and see which other areas would benefit the Namibian nation, but also in future it will benefit the very institution that you're leading. And just in conclusion, I just wanted to give an example. A few years ago, we had a dream of landing airplane or helicopter on the road and picking up persons who are injured in motor vehicle crashes. And today we are doing it. And probably half of you here probably think that we own an air ambulance. You probably think that we own a helicopter, but we don't. Because when that helicopter lands, the paramedics that are coming out of that helicopter are MVA fund paramedics, but the helicopter is NAMPOL helicopter. The helicopter belongs to the private sector. And talking about private sector, they play a huge role. It doesn't help. You should read their slogans to ensure that by such and such time, everyone who's not banked must be banked. How will they bank them if they are dying in road accidents? So that's the story that we must take out there, that it's the very same people that we are saving, and we must preserve lives. So therefore, invest in health, invest in this area. So I really think that that would be the approach. Thank you, David.
Thank you so much for that very important point. And that collaboration, that coordination extends beyond the coordination amongst public enterprises themselves. Very importantly, the private sector remains a key stakeholder. Mr. Van Jaarsveld, we're very happy to have you on board this morning as well. Madam Karai Martin, when she walked us through the challenges, she mentioned financial resources. 63% of you responded that amounts to an internal constraint. Some of you flagged infrastructure, about 14.3%, and then, of course, skills shortages and governance gaps. As far as your entity is concerned, which would you say is the key hurdle, the key constraint? And very importantly, what practical interventions are necessary to overcome that hurdle? We're not only here to workshop problems, we're also here to propose solutions.
Thank you, Demba. Your Excellency, Honourable Minister, and I also want to acknowledge my new chairperson, Dr. Esther McLeod. With regards to Transnamib, and there are two things that are the biggest obstacles at the moment, but I'm also going to provide some, as you said, some solutions. Number one is the aging infrastructure. And with infrastructure, I also refer to the rolling stock, the locomotives. You cannot have the one and not the other one. And I know, as you know, the Ministry of Works are working also very aggressively to replace some of the railway lines. The current project, we all are aware of the successful completion of the Walvis Bay Kransberg one, which is excellent, and my train drivers actually call it, it's the tar road. So nice it is to travel on and safe. The next step for infrastructure is the Kransberg-Otjiwarongo route. However, there are more to be done because the one to Gubabis is a top priority, and also the connection between Utavi and Grootfontein. Why is that a priority? Transnamib is in the final stages, and we're working closely together with the corridor group, as well as my colleague here, Andrew, from Namport, is regarding a dry port where we can take some of the loads coming in from Zambia, that we can transload them with intermodal transport in Grootfontein, transfer them to rail, and take off some of these trucks. We're not competing against the trucks, but we've just last week launched in Karabib, where we've, together with a partner, will take marble blocks, instead of on the road, we take them back on rail, and by eliminating about 700 road trucks per month, it's about 20, 30 a day. That will all go back on rail, and it has happened as we speak. The one big constraint we've got, Honourable, is Transnamib still needs government support. We had it clearly in our ISBP, the next 5-year plan that we have submitted, been approved by Ministry of Finance, and Transnamib is in this stage where we still need financial support. The locomotives You all are aware of the tender that was cancelled last year. We are almost ready to go back to the Central Procurement Board. The funding has been secured. We've reached financial close with the Development Bank of Southern Africa and Development Bank of Namibia to procure those new locomotives, which is much needed. Why we need new locos? 80% of the fleet of Transnamib is older than 50 years. I'm older than that, but but that is reality what we are having and what we have to do with to move the current freight. We have got the businesses out there. I need 8 locomotives today to move manganese from the Northern Cape to the port of Gludritz. Business that you need, I can't because I don't have the rolling stock. Thank you.
You're saying some of those locomotives are my senior. Mr. Nehemiah, based on your statutory mandate, I'd like to pose the same question to you. Which of these challenges that Madam Karoy Martin flagged in her presentation of our survey results is the one that's most pertinent to your enterprise? And again, very importantly, what are you proposing to help us overcome that hurdle?
No, very good morning, Your Excellency, Honorable Minister and colleagues. Definitely with NamWater, we have the similar challenge of the aging infrastructure. NamWater's bulk infrastructure, most of it is inherited from the pre-independence era. You can already imagine how old these schemes are. So definitely we have, this is a very critical challenge, but it is linked to other challenges as well. Although I'm going to focus on it, you can see that if you have to replace this infrastructure, you need money. The other thing that you need to replace this infrastructure are the skills. And while we're also looking at the aging infrastructure, we are also looking at ensuring that we are developing new infrastructure for the areas that were not covered before. So it's a big thing that NamWater has to look into to ensure that everybody has access to water. Every industry has access to water. Every local authority has access to water. And most of the industries are in local authorities. So if NamWater is not able to provide sufficient water to the local authorities, industries within those local authorities will suffer. So the problem that we have with this is that we have the growth, economic growth, population growth, and the infrastructure that we had before. If you add it to have it too old, it becomes even worse. Because when the demand goes up, then you need to supply more water, and if you put more water in an old pipeline, it bursts. And these are the problems that we are really facing. Therefore, for us, it's very urgent to look into this infrastructure being replaced. Now, what we are doing and what we are planning is to really, number one, to ensure that we duly ensure that we implement our strategic framework. That's our 5-year strategic plan, our annual business plans, so that we ensure that we have clear plans as to what we have to do, which must be linked into proper financing. And I have to take my hat off for the Honorable Minister of Finance. She's really assisting us through the Namibia Water Supply Sector Program, where we are getting finances mobilized by the ministry from international financiers. And you can see that at this stage, we have replaced massive infrastructure, water infrastructure in this country. The coastal system, we only had about 20 kilometers of the pipelines that were not replaced yet. That we did the groundbreaking ceremony last week. So construction is starting already. If you go to the north, or even to the south, last month we did already the groundbreaking ceremony for the Nautek Yetmanso pipeline. So it's also going to be replaced. We are also then looking into additional new infrastructure that is not going to be a replacement. And this is massive, looking at desalination interventions, for instance. We have the Central Coast Area desalination. This is coming soon. We are engaging already in the feasibility study for the Rudets desalination plant and one north north of Hants Bay, to put up another one there.
Thank you. You may wrap up.
I liked to talk, but no, thank you.
I wish we had the entire day, but we don't, unfortunately, Mr. Nema. Thank you very much for your
No, thank
understanding.
you.
Dr. Mwazi, I'm going to make it very difficult for you, intentionally so. If you could recommend one policy intervention, one investment priority, one institutional change that would significantly enhance the contribution of public enterprises to NDP 6 and thus national development, what would it be and why?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and good morning to the Excellency and Honorable Minister and everyone. It's a very difficult question, and I think one had time to reflect on it and able to analyze it. And I'll put it in the context of the agricultural sphere and aspect in terms of contributing to the NDP 6. Now, from the Namibian Agronomic Board aspect, and I should also mention it to say, we are fully in alignment in terms of NDP 6, in terms of contribution. We have come up with a lot of schemes in terms of subsidies and funding to assist farmers to upskill and increase production. But of course, we observe challenges as we go, as we see progress continue. Now, coming back to your question, in terms of, from the perspective of the agriculture sector, I would say a single most transformative reform that is required to be attended to, it's more aligned in terms of a comprehensive package of institutional reform and policy that is more or less to enable the agricultural sector to function properly. Now, this reform at an institutional level, it means that we need to require government to consolidate fragmented policies and laws, and that is related to the crop sector in order to integrate it from the legal aspect, institutional framework, with one authority. And this will allow, for example, the Namibian Agronomic Board to be more involved and become a crop value chain development authority. Because as it stands, you'll find that we regulate some segments within the value chain. For example, the fertilizer aspect is regulated at the Ministry of Agriculture. The Seed and Seed Variety Act is with the Ministry of Agriculture. At the speed where the NAB is driving development within the crop value chain, we always find these lagging behind. But if it's harmonized, all these legislations are harmonized to be under one institutional authority, it will be able to unlock the potential of the private sector to invest into the crop value chain development. But I should mention that doing so will create a one-stop institution that will be able to not only to be responsible for regulation, but will also be facilitate investment promotion, value chain development, trade facilitation, market access, innovation, and farmer support that is comprehensive.
And therefore enhance efficiency.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
There's a linkage I wanted, if you allow me just for a few minutes to say, but at a sector level, because that is at an institutional level, at a sector level, incentive-based reforms, I think, is very crucial to unlock all these, because without that, institutional reform alone will not be able to deliver the expectation. So number one, it will require us, the government, to introduce a bold policy incentives that will make agriculture production and agro-processing flourish and be competitive. Why so? One, the import VAT and custom duties relief on strategic agricultural inputs, because we find it difficult when you even assess within the industry, the importation of the technology, agriculture equipment, it's expensive. And if we are to deliver the 162,500 hectares as per the NDP over 5 years, which we are left with 3 years, in terms of commercializing under irrigation, these incentives are key to be considered so that we can assist the private sector and farmers to have access to it.
Thank you.
The last one is the electricity. Because they are connected, bear with
Just
me.
kindly keep it brief, please. sir.
Yes, yes. So they are connected, and electricity tariffs or targeted energy subsidy for irrigating farmers. I think it has become a very key challenge that we see that it's a cost driver to take out farmers and agro-processors out of business. And if we can able to take this policy decision, in a long run, the incentives are going to drive the economic growth and create jobs that is much needed, because the tax reforms will benefit from the increase in local production that will be. Then we are leading an export-led agriculture transformation. Thank you.
Although it wasn't one proposed policy intervention, it was a couple, they were good nonetheless. So thank you very much for that. Yeah. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have 30 seconds each just for some concluding remarks. I'll start with you, Mr. Kanime, please.
The mic to Mr. Kanime.
30 seconds, kindly.
Yes, let me just put it out there that, you know, nothing come on a silver platter. It has been out there that we have been selling the ports, right? When we're concessioning the new container terminal, we're being told that Kanime is selling the ports. Let me just put it out there that we have tasted the benefit of accessing private capital, enabling us then to transform the port from a mere piece of infrastructure into a working engine for NDP6, enabling us to deliver capacity. When you have more capacity, you deliver more trade. When you have more trade, you deliver more jobs, you deliver more income, enabling us then to create a diversified and resilient economy. So let me encourage my colleagues, instead of going to the state, there is a lot of private capital available that we can actually creatively use to address some of the infrastructure challenges that we have.
Are you denying that you sold the ports?
Port is still there standing,
Yeah.
fully owned by the government of the Republic of Namibia.
Tapandula Unene. Madam, please.
Thank you so much, Denver. Yes, so colleagues, one of the reasons why we created the forum, the CEO forum, was for us to really come together. But I want to also say enough dialogue. Enough dialogue, because we know what needs to be done. It's documented. It's now for us to come together and really start the action. If we have to go according to just the participation in a survey, it was online, 63%. But here we are, all of us showed up. When we heard that Her Excellency is coming here, we showed up. But we could not pick up our phones and complete the survey. So enough dialogue. It's time for us to come together and act. Thank you.
It reminds us of a very famous phrase in the land of the brave: we are too few to be poor. Tapandula Unene, Madam. Meneer van Jaarsveld.
Yes, thank you. Let's support our SOEs. Encourage them. It's a tough life out there. We need the support from the media, from our ministries, etc., and from each other. So, closer cooperation and support. Thank
Baie
you.
dankie, meneer van Jaarsveld. Mr. Nemia.
Yes, water is a critical enabler in the achievement of NDP 6. Her Excellency, yesterday at the Mining Expo, tasked the mines to create jobs. Not even a single mine can create a single job without water. So we need to be supported. Thank you.
Tapandula Unene. Doctor, you have the very brief final word, please.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think from my side, in terms of concluding from the crop value chain, I would urge all of us in this room to plant mango trees, fruit trees, because agro-processing facilities are starting to be to be emerging. We will be we are working with the University of Namibia in terms of the agro-processing that will be taking place starting in Katima and in North Central. So soon we want mangoes from all of you to deliver to this facility. Thank you.
Litumezi. Are we able to please give this distinguished panel a massive round of applause? Thank you very much. You're excused, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to invite you to the podium to help us extract the essence of this dialogue. Madam Emilia Nikembwa, the Vice Chairperson of the Public Enterprises CEO Forum. With the indulgence of the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation, shall we take a brief FCC adjournment? And then we can each stretch our legs for 5 minutes. FCC, it's over to you. Thank you so much, distinguished delegates. You may be seated. Your Excellency, to give us a brief overview of the key outcomes of our panel discussion, I'd like to invite Madam Emilia Nyikembwa, Vice Chairperson of the Public Enterprises Chief Executive Officers Forum, to walk us through that item. Shall we please give a big round of applause?
Thank you very much, Program Director. Your Excellency, I would now like to give a high-level overview of the key outcomes and thematic areas, taking into account the outcome of the survey that was presented, as well as the panel discussions that we have just had now. Although the different speakers were speaking in terms of their current experiences as far as their public enterprises or their sectors are concerned, we have generalized the recommendations with the understanding that they can be applied to any of the different sectors within which the different public enterprises are operating. The first key thematic area that we have identified is to prioritize outcomes over readiness. Public enterprises should focus on delivering tangible development outcomes rather than demonstrating preparedness. Success should be measured through economic impact, job creation, improved service delivery, and contribution to the national development goals. This, I think, Your Excellency, ties in with the big message that we have received even from Dr. Hangala, that it's no longer about preparation, it's no longer about plans and frameworks and more strategic engagements, but it's about, can we prioritize outcomes over readiness, which means let us do the implementation. The second key thematic area, Your Excellency, is to strengthen alignment and collaboration. Public enterprises should identify cross-cutting opportunities and work collaboratively to achieve NDP 6 objectives. Greater alignment will improve efficiency, reduce duplication, and maximize developmental impact. The third outcome, Your Excellency, is to enhance leadership, accountability, and coordination. There is a need for public enterprises to clear or to identify lead agencies as far as the initiatives under NDP 6 are concerned, to define our respective responsibilities, and then to ensure that there is strong coordination mechanisms in order to improve our implementation levels. This means that we should not just align to NDP 6 priorities from an institutional perspective, but we must also identify those coordination and collaborative areas as public enterprises so that we can assist one another and work together. And tied with that, Your Excellency, is regular monitoring, performance tracking, and reporting, which are all essential to ensure that there is accountability and delivery on the on the National Development Plan. The fourth area is to accelerate infrastructure modernization. There is a need for us as public enterprises to give priority to upgrading aging infrastructure and expanding strategic assets, especially in the transport, energy, logistics, water, and other sectors that support the economy. Modern infrastructure is critical for supporting economic growth and emerging industries. And this is primarily because all other sectors, to meet their NDP 6 initiatives, would rely on the infrastructure that we as public enterprises are delivering and providing. And this is why there is a need to modernize the infrastructure. Then the fifth outcome is to mobilize private sector investment. And this is critical because one of the key threats that we have seen in the SWOT is the limited financial resources. And public enterprises should therefore actively facilitate private sector participation through public-private partnerships, but also through bankable and sustainable projects and investment-friendly policies. I think there was also a key consideration which came out to say public enterprises must actually champion the environments and the services that we provide to the private sector, because they are the key beneficiaries in most instances of those services. And if we champion that, then that would also be a way to attract the private sector to invest in the public enterprise environment. We should also leverage innovative and international financing. Government and public enterprises should work together to explore smart partnerships with development finance institutions, international financiers, and strategic investors to mobilize long-term capital for infrastructure and industrial development. And this recommendation, Your Excellency, was made primarily because we are all relying on government for that 500 billion that is required for NDP 6, but government alone cannot do this. And as public enterprises, I think our call is not to always go to government and say, we need more money, but we need to leverage innovative ways of attracting investment into NDP 6 priorities. Skills development and institutional capacity is another thematic area. We need investment in modern skills, leadership capabilities, and technical expertise in order to support infrastructure modernization, innovation, as well as efficient service delivery, because we all know that many of the priority areas under NDP 6 are also about service delivery. It's about making the lives of our citizens easier and better than how we found them. And we can only do that if we have the right skills and if we have the correct institutional capacity to be able to deliver on the mandate that we have under NDP 6. I am moving to the end, Your Excellency, with the 8th one, which is advanced institutional and regulatory reform. The recommendation here is that there is a lot of fragmented policies and legislation, and there's an opportunity for us to streamline this so that we can improve regulatory support, strengthen governance, and create a more efficient operating environment. It goes without saying that simplified processes will accelerate investment as well as project execution, which are all critical to the successful implementation of NDP 6. Implemented targeted investment incentives. There should be sector-specific incentives which should be considered in order to encourage investment in strategic industries. Measures such as custom duty relief, energy incentives, as well as targeted support for key NDP 6 enablers can improve competitiveness, not only for us as a country, but also for the different sectors, and ultimately it will then stimulate economic growth. Finally, Your Excellency, the final outcome or key thematic area is to strengthen value chains and economic competitiveness. So public and private sector collaboration must focus on developing integrated value chains, increasing local participation, and really positioning our country as a regional hub for trade, investment, industrialization, and job creation. And that requires all of us to work together, because if we can position our country, it will raise capital, it will raise more revenue for the fiscus, and this will ultimately also enhance economic resilience and create long, sustainable growth opportunities for us as a country. And ultimately, Your Excellency, as public enterprises, these key outcomes, the central challenge for us is simple. What do we have to offer the people of Namibia? The biggest message, I think, from all the participants was that the planning stage is over. We have had enough strategies, frameworks, and well-crafted words and plans. The time now is for us as public enterprises to implement. Our greatest calling is to translate the NDP 6 and all our strategic plans into tangible results and measurable impact, because it's through those results and through that impact that we would have then made the lives of Namibians, of the ordinary Namibian on the street, better than how we found it. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, Madam Nyikembwa. Public enterprises indeed need to prioritize tangible development outcomes rather than focusing on readiness. For some brief remarks, and I'd like to call on Honorable Erika Shafuda, the Minister of Finance. Shall we please give her a big round of applause?
Thank you so much, Director of Proceedings. Your Excellency, I would want to stand on the protocol that was already established. Number one, I need to apologize that in the program, I was supposed to play a role of introducing the keynote speaker, but my boss said, you all know her. And therefore, I should not do that one. See, the boss only said, just reflect on some few things. You sit, and then the boss will come and deliver and engage. That order has been complied with, Your Excellency. Now, first I would want to express my appreciation for the kind invitation to the inaugural CEOS strategic dialogue with Her Excellency. I'm privileged to be part of this team. I also want to just reflect on some few things. One was touched by Dr. Hangala, but I want to repeat it just a little bit. It is on PEGA. Yes, it is true, we started with the ministries being the ones responsible for their SOEs. Then there was a reform that culminated into PEGA, and with that, the formation of the ministry responsible for public enterprises for the time, then merged with the Ministry of Finance, then it became Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises. We learn as we go. So because we learn as we go and we reflect, we have also seen that a hybrid can also still work. Whereas you still have the SOEs being hosted under their relevant ministries, but you also bring up another element where you standardize the guidelines, the policies, all what we want to say, but that should be under one umbrella. I believe that hybrid is going to work, and it's going to work very well. Therefore, that what I have said is what is now entailed in the bill, in the amendment bill. And the bill is before Parliament, before National Assembly. When we resume the National Assembly, 1st of September 2026, that bill is one of the priority bills that appear in the order paper for discussions. So we are moving. That is one of the reforms that I just wanted to share with this platform. The second one is a collective, that's the cabinet and our boss is here. We also looked into the way how we are managing the assets of the state. And we have realized that the way how we are managing them individually as ministries, as SOEs, need to be looked at. And therefore, we have agreed as the executive that it would be good if we establish an agency that will be responsible for public assets management. Not all of them. We are going to tell you which ones, so that you don't already get panics to say, oh, everything will now be managed by this agency. So I just wanted, again, to let you know that that reform is also coming, and we are going to engage, and we are going to consult you as we are progressing with this reform. I'm almost there. Now, I want to reflect now on the presentations that I appreciate very, very much, because they had really informed us on areas where we should also focus as the policymakers, as the executive. One is the triangle that was presented here, to say there should be collaboration between or among the three parts of that triangle. That's the policymakers, that is the shareholder, the board, and management. There was an example that was given, and because I'm around and I'm the only one with that title, apparently when we introduce ourselves, we say we are ministers. No, me, that one. Yeah, no, it is a strategic dialogue. And we are getting feedback. But I'm also going to tell my colleagues that there is no need for us to remind others that we are ministers. Moreover, these titles are just temporary titles. We remain in the Ericas and so forth. But we need to collaborate as the three components of the triangle. The statistics that were provided, especially the ones that talk to how SOEs are aligned, your work, your strategies are aligned to NDP 6. I had thought we were going to have 100 out of 100. Because now you have reported us to the president. Because the president said, ministers, go and talk to SOEs and make sure that their strategic plans are 100% aligned to NDP 6. Now, when I got 75 point something, I was saying to myself, I hope those ones are not, the ones who did not respond do not fall under me. and I'm going to take stock. I'm going to take stock, because if it so happens that one of them, okay, I know the survey is confidential, but I can also find a way to, yeah? So, but my recommendation, colleagues, and my advice is really to say, let us take this strategic policy document, NDP 6, to be part of us, yeah? If it was from the biblical point of view, we say, let it be our Bible. So that when we talk, we say, you just make reference to NDP 6, right? So I know next time we are going to improve on the statistics, Chairperson. Then again, speaking to that, limited financial resources. This one, I do not know how we will get it out of our vocabularies. There is no way how one day we will say adequate financial resources. That word does not exist. What exists is that what you have, use it in an effective and efficient manner. I had thought we were going to talk about this little that we got, and in fact, we should do a trend analysis. We should do a trend analysis of the contributions by the government of each one of the SOEs. Just do that trend analysis. Some of them, they will run into billions. But we don't talk about that one. We just talk about limited, that's why we cannot do our work. No. Let us say we would want to improve on how we manage public financial resources, because the money is there, right? Yeah, it is there, because if it was not there, you wouldn't have asked contractors to give you 10%. Eh? I leave it there. Okay. I leave it there. No, I'm almost coming. I'm almost coming. Now, as we are implementing NDP 6, because we have also said to ourselves, the time for talking is over. And now we need to focus on deliverables, tangible deliverables. Yes, we can say, Tate Kanime, you can say, yes, we have expanded the port. That is fine. But what the ordinary Namibian person wants to hear, number of employment created, the level of poverty, how it has been addressed, how we have addressed issues of inequalities. Simple terms. They will be very happy to hear that one. But these big words that we use, people are not, they are not for those things. They just want to hear skilled, employed. Or we say permanent employment, what is the other one? Temporary employment, those statistics. This is what people would want to hear. Now, last one from my side, Your Excellency. I want to challenge Dr. Mazi. Where is he? Dr. Mazi, you said, and we all listened, that if you were to reduce or to introduce some few incentives, we are going to see increased production, especially on the crop production value chain, right? Yes. Okay, we are going to do it. Suppose we say VAT as from a certain date will be 0. Are you going to promise the nation with statistics that because of that 0 VAT that was introduced, that crop production value chain increased from point A to point Z? Yes. You are going to say it, to do it, in the presence of Her Excellency? Okay, we are going to do it. Your Excellency, those were my few remarks. Once again, thank you for this opportunity. Let us collaborate, because this is the only country we have, and we are all delivering because of our nation and our people. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Shall we please give the Minister of Finance a proper round of applause? In the words of the Honourable Minister, the regime of limited resources is something of the past, because there will be no such thing of resources being enough. We have to do with what we have. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for the moment that we've all been waiting for, may I please invite you to rise as we welcome to the podium Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of the Republic of Namibia, for some reflections.
Please take your seats. I will start where the director of where is he? Where the director of proceedings have ended, when he reminded us that limited resources vocabulary should be something of the past. And just to the minister, ended halfway, because with limited resources at our disposal, we have never had any government institution, including parastatals, that has skipped 1 month without making payment to the workers or reducing the payment. Instead, it increases under limited resources. How are we making that? That is what the nation wants to know. Thank you, Director of Ceremony. And let me also stand on the protocol established and to thank this forum for organizing this dialogue. It is written strategic. Please put it back. No, I want to read it straight as it's here. Is it back? Yeah. Please put it there. It's the theme. Okay, Chief Executive Officer's strategic dialogue with His Excellency, yes, the President. How do we as a state-owned enterprise understand the word strategic? How do we understand the strategic? From where I stand, strategic is deep analysis of a dialogue so that you can give a nation a surprise on what you are going to do. But if you make the whole country to be part of the strategic dialogue. How strategic is that dialogue? That's my big question. How strategic is that dialogue? How effective that dialogue is going to be? Or we are playing to the camera? I'm really asking that. You are now the cream of our developmental agenda. Chief Executive Officer of state-owned enterprises and the chairpersons. We want you to close yourself in the room, strategically analyze the issues, talk to each other openly, come out with clear strategies, and surprise our people with your action. But making them to be part of your strategic dialogue, what does that mean? To me, immediately I read it. When I was coming for strategic dialogue. But when I was introduced and to be told it's open to the whole country, how do I strategize with the whole country? To me, that has really put me off, whether we are really serious or we just want to repeat the same sentences, good big words we have been repeating. Now I have listened to you, and 75% you are aligned. From here now, my next dialogue with you, I want you to give me concretely, and I also want the people to say, yes, our state-owned enterprise are now aligned and they are functioning. Not just to come and we are talking and we are talking. I'm happy with all that I have heard. I'm happy about it. But let it be put in concrete action. Yes, money will never be enough, but money is created. And it's created by the cream of our service delivery people. And you are the cream who are here. I'm telling you, if this country has to move, the state-owned enterprise have to play a big role. When decisions were taken, the good thing, I was there from day one. Though I have been sometimes maybe not attending all the meetings, being a deputy, I have been reading the documents. Why it was decided to have state-owned enterprise is to relieve the budget. To relieve the budget and create a state-owned enterprise to be run on business principles like the private sector so that they can support the budget. Of course, I know there are some state-owned enterprise that will really need a boost, and the boost were given from the beginning. But sometimes we messed them up. Now we have all these good ideas. Let us go back to our offices and implement these ideas. Meetings after meetings, conference after conference, workshops after workshops should not be meant for public presentation. They should be meant for real planning and for them to be implemented. You remember when that time I was a minister, a deputy prime minister, and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, when I talked to you as a state-owned enterprise. And I mentioned to you, I can paraphrase myself, that you are the engine for our economic development. And I stand by that word, that you are the engine of economic development. Yes, the reforms that we are making, like now the PEGA that we are talking about, we have also looked at how has it performed. It did not perform. And I think Dr. Leaki Angala, the way he put it, it even make me to believe it's necessary to make the reform that we are making. Because if the issue is personal, whereby we say we have these young ministers who can tell the people, I'm your minister. And now those young ministers are going to be there. Imagine now all the state-owned enterprise. You put them under that one minister, young minister. You put them under that one young minister. Is the minister of state-owned enterprise. What is going to happen? If that is really what we are talking about, you better have them where they are, but then overall, they must be guided somewhere. And here we are saying the office of the Prime Minister. But on the day-to-day of programs, they need to be under their line ministries, who even understand what they are talking about. And you see, I was fortunate when you invited me. You remember those of you who were in Grootfontein. That is one thing you said, with now having a line ministry, you have a minister for public enterprise, you have a program which issues you should report to the line ministry, and which issues will be guided by the state-owned enterprise. It was coming from the state-owned enterprise. And I took it, and when an opportunity came that you made me the president, and I value the work of state-owned enterprise, yes, that's true. I say, let me act on it, because the people who are being served, they have pronounced themselves. Second, I'm also happy you are talking about regulations, pros and all things, because this system of now, when you are evaluating, how many reports you made? 5. You are ticking. You are just ticking, because you are given, yes, we had 5 board meetings, tick. We have taken 5 resolutions, tick. You were just ticking. Why did I say that day? I say that ticking business is not talking to the needs of our people. So you must tell me what is the outcome now of you ticking all these things. And I'm happy you mentioned them here today, that you are going to address them. So I must say that we need to create the confidence of the public in our institution. But you can only create that confidence when people are seeing the result of what you are doing. This is all confidence that the people want. Yesterday, I told the miners that from our private-public summit, I have set up 3 task forces, one on health, one on economic recovery, the other one on housing. Those reports, those committee task force, they reported on time. And they give us recommendations, what should be done. And I was happy because the recommendation they gave this time, none of them demands any money. None of them. And they said to me, they are ready to work with this government in implementing NDP 6. So, having given us the recommendations, I looked at the recommendations, I identified which ministers are supposed to work on them, I sent them to the ministers, and I gave them deadline end of August for them to implement, not to report, for them to implement and report on the implementation. Now, I'm also telling you that the report of the ministers will be evaluated on the feedback I'm getting from the private sector and I'm getting from you. If there's no differences, then they have not done anything. So I would also want now that as we are moving here, the recommendations you have made, those you can implement. You talk about like the alignment. You know, I'm now giving you the final homework here. And this, if they are the same, let them be the same. But I want each one of you to work out to the following for me, because these are the things you have talked about. From this dialogue, I'm encouraged by all your statements. I'm encouraged by what you have said are the challenges. Now, one thing, what single reform would unlock your specific public enterprise? What specific reform that can really make your specific public enterprise to contribute to the Namibian's economy? Which is your strategic investment project which are ready for implementation within the next 24 months? I want to know that. What constraint requires cabinet or presidential intervention? I said I'm going to be a disruptive president. I'll disrupt if for the sake of the Namibian people. I'm going to disrupt. I know there may be a lot of court cases here, but the nation will protect me. They can be with me in the court. So let me know what constraints require cabinet or presidential intervention for you to deliver the service to the Namibian people. And then, which are those rules, regulations that needs alignment? Mention them and talk about what alignment is required. Because sometimes we make statements because they are made by others. So I want you now to say, in my sector, these are the rules, these are regulations, these are the laws that needs alignment, and that alignment should be in this specific form. And because we are talking about empowering the Namibian people, we are also talking about job creation. If you do, when you are going to do those reforms and then you work, how many direct and indirect jobs are going to be created in your industry? And then what percentage of your current procurement benefit Namibian business people with, which should include small and medium enterprise? Those are the people who can really grow this economy, and we can strengthen them through our work. Finally, how would your institution contribute meaningfully to import substitution, export growth, and balance regional development? I know you have different responsibility. And as I'm talking, you know which one really falls under my specific sector of the state-owned enterprise. So let me have this. You are people who are the cream, I'll keep repeating this, you are the cream, and that's why you are given that responsibility to run those institutions. And remember also that I stick to my administration philosophies, policies, which are programmatism, integrity, accountability, meritocracy, and inclusivity. Let us be inclusive, and let us do things with integrity. You know, in our system, there is a system whereby somebody can bring an idea, and that idea is important for your specific institution. And when now you realize that it's really a good idea, it's going to work, you want to steal it from the owner of the idea and to give it to your friends. That is unacceptable. A person who brings the ideas must be the center for the implementation, can share with others. But to want to exclude the person completely, where does intellectual property comes in? Simply because it's not registered, you want to steal it, that is no integrity for any state-owned enterprise to work in that way. Those who are bringing the ideas they want to implement, let them implement because they know what they're supposed to do. In our culture, many of you, we are cattle people. And you know that even if your parents had a lot of cattle and you inherited them and you don't know how they came about, they don't even last a month. Do you agree? Because you don't know the background of how to take care of these animals. Now, if a person who brings the idea, you are taking the person out, that idea will collapse. And we must really look at merit and those who can do the job. We have made an assessment of all the projects that were awarded either by the government or by state-owned enterprise, and they were not completed. 2 weeks ago, it was a debate in cabinet because they all come out. The problem is people were given projects who don't have the capacity to execute the project. And what is said about it, money is already paid before the project starts. And that's why the minister is saying, and they agree, the problem in this country is not money. The problem is how we are using that money. Just think of it in your own enterprise. So I'm really glad for this dialogue, and I'm told it is an initial dialogue, inaugural dialogue, but the next dialogue, the chairperson of the forum, I really want now to be informed strategically how all these recommendations were implemented. So the cream of the Namibian cream, save the Namibian nation, the chief executive officer for our parastatal, the chairperson of the board, people have trust and confidence in you. Don't destroy that trust. Just deliver. They don't want to continue here. Even now, I think as I'm talking, they are hearing my statements, and they are saying, what difference she making? Because that's what she talks every day. I want to talk when we are talking and people see things coming out. They don't need to be part of the planning. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this. And let us implement NDP 6, which is now finalizing Vision 2030. And as we are moving closer, we are also now thinking what will be our next map. Because for 30 years, we had the Vision 2030. Now, after 2030, are we going to be in the air? So we must now start to think now as to what is going to be our pointer after 2030 in terms of development. Finally, I'm thinking about value addition should be on top of everything we do, and agriculture, food security remains our priority number one. And our universities, I do not expect you to make money, but I want a good research. I don't know how you even ended up sitting together. And congratulations to the new one. And the chair of one of our university became the one to really set the stage. Development without research is not development. So we are really looking at you to do appropriate research. You know already what is our challenge. The world has changed, and we need to find our way how we can survive in this world. And let us do, I say, appropriate research. We should not be driven by others. We should see where we are ourselves and how we are moving. And with research, we will be able to make it. So thank you very much. Thank you. Until we meet again in another strategic dialogue.
Your Excellency, we have a small gesture for you.
A small?
Gesture, just to say thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can kindly just maybe just remain here, please, Your Excellency. Thank you for those marching orders, Your Excellency.
And I'm saying, please don't, we want more taxes, because I have many schools and hospitals to build.
That's why we dismissed the choir as soon as they were done, Your Excellency. We have a very small gesture of appreciation, Your Excellency, and in that regard, I'd like to call on Mr. Flixman Samuel as well as Dr. Leake Angala, just to hand over this small gesture of appreciation to you, Your Excellency.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen. I should move here.
Yes, for the camera.
Oh, okay. Please, could you cover it? Yeah, sorry. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is really just a token of appreciation on your behalf to thank Her Excellency for her leadership and for her open door policy. So Her Excellency has a soft spot for the creative industry, which has become a national priority. This gift that we are about to hand over to Her Excellency has been produced by one of the artists in Namibia. So that's what we want to present. Thank you. So, from one of the artists in Namibia, we hope that Her Excellency will find an appropriate spot at the State House where this can be put up, because it also, of course, highlights the energy of the state-owned enterprises and, of course, our theme. So, Your Excellency, I think this is what we want to present to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the support to the creative industry, which I strongly believe in it, the creative industry. It can create jobs, innovation is part of it. And unless you are innovative, you cannot create. And as I always say, you can just look at yourself in this room. Who's not a beneficiary of creative industry? Somebody was creative when they were making our dresses, our ties, our rings, our necklace. It's innovation and creativity. So that is the work of creative industry. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you very much. Thank you. And maybe I can now talk. This photo becomes popular. I have a granddaughter. She is now 7. In 2025, when we were 24, when we were going now for the inauguration, and the Ministry for Information, because this time we say the copyright for the president should be owned by the people through the ministry. So they should be the one to come and take a photo. So they came to the office. I was putting on this attire, and then you were part of it. And they took so many photos. Then they gave me 5 or 4 to choose from. Then I say, I'm going to take them home. So we put them, then we were all looking. And this girl now, she's 7 now. You can imagine how old she was. She came running and then said, no, for Mekulu, me, I like this one. Then we all say, children have better eyes. No more argument. Let us just take the one for her. So now she always say, this is my photo, this is my photo. So she'll be happy to see this one again. So that's how it came. You can involve the family in these things. And that's her photo.
Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Shall we please give Her Excellency another round of applause? Thank you very much. Please be seated. For the final item on our agenda, I'd like to call on one of the Public Enterprises CEO Forum EXCO members, Mr. Robert Kaimise, for a brief vote of thanks. I'm told, Your Excellency, we also want to appreciate our Honorable Minister of Finance, as well as the Chairperson of the Namibia University of Science and Technology Council. Therefore, Honorable Minister, Dr. Angala, Mr. Samuel will hand over a small appreciation in the presence of Her Excellency, so you need not declare it additionally to you. Kindly join us, please. Big round of applause, please.
Yeah. Yes. Once again, we appreciate our leaders, and the Minister of Finance in the government is a very, very important leader. So on behalf of the chairpersons and the CEOs, again, we have a token of appreciation to hand over to our line minister. Thank you. Please join.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to open, don't worry.
And the last gesture to Dr. Angala.
I don't need to declare.
Well, as you may know, Dr. Hangala became the first permanent secretary in the Ministry of Mines and Energy. He worked for government. And he also took over from Mr. Paula Brandt at Nampower. He entered the public enterprises. Now he's a private business person. He has been around. And we need to acknowledge, I think, his leadership that he's continued to play in the private sector as well as in the public enterprises. A token of appreciation to you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Angala, you need not declare, but you may share.
Thank you.
Tapandula Unene, thank you very much. Another big round of applause, please. Now, for the final item on our agenda, I'd like to call on Mr. Robert Kaimise. He's an EXCO member of the Public Enterprises Chief Executive Officers Forum for a brief vote of thanks. Massive round of applause for him.
Your Excellency, allow me to stand by the protocol that has been established. The good thing is you will walk away from the room based on my energy. This is the last item. This is the last item of the program. So it's a privilege as a member of ESCO to deliver the closing remarks as well as the vote of thanks briefly. Your Excellency, Namibia's economy is showing signs of recovery. With the Namibia Statistics Agency, which is also one of the cream of the SOEs, reporting a 2.4% growth in 2023, driven by the mining sector that Your Excellency officiated yesterday. And behind that important sector is the energy sector that is powering the creation of employment and also enabling all the players to achieve the set KPIs of NDP6. Very encouraging, following contraction of 0.4 in 2021 and 1.3% in 2022. State-owned enterprises are pivotal, as we heard today, in shaping Namibia's economic landscape, accounting for 20 to 45%, Your Excellency, of the total public gross fixed capital formation. Also very important at the center of the newly envisaged agency to manage these public assets once it has been publicly announced in repositioning the execution of government policy. These SOEs, Your Excellency, drive infrastructure development, particularly in energy, water supply, agriculture, transport, and telecommunications, laying the groundwork for sustainable growth. With the right strategic focus, SOEs can unlock new opportunities, boost innovation and creativity, and enhance service delivery for all Namibians. Now and then, Your Excellency, we hear, we don't eat roads. It's the public. They are indirectly sending a message to government and to the executors, which are the SOEs, as you have redirected us. Build confidence, public confidence in our service delivery. Build public confidence in the work that we do, so when we do it,
it will be embraced by the public. Is the cream, as you have mentioned, Your Excellency, and that's why it is very important and critical that SOE's strategic focus can really unlock opportunities of employment creation as envisaged by the government, that we are at the center of creativity and innovation, and also we continue to enhance service delivery to the Namibian people. The government recognizes the importance of SOEs in driving economic growth and has introduced reforms, and we are also privileged to hear continuous reforms to ensure that we sustain the growth. Surely we cannot expect different results by doing exactly what we have been doing for the last 20 years. And we are open to implement the reforms to unlock new value and also to serve our people better. Key 3 focus areas for SOEs: driving infrastructure growth, expanding access to energy, clean water, transport, and digital infrastructure, these basic services that are not a luxury anymore, boosting innovation, leveraging technology and partnership to enhance efficiency, enhancing service delivery, improving responsiveness to citizen needs, as I've mentioned earlier. Today, Your Excellency, we stand at a pivotal moment in Namibia's journey. This strategic dialogue is more than a conversation. I hope we all also appreciate the type of energy that each participant will walk away from this engagement. Psychological boost, so that when we go out there, we will do and execute our mandate at another level, just by having this half-a-day conversation with Her Excellency. It is a call to action. Our theme demanded clarity, accelerating national development, the role of public enterprises in delivering NDP 6, and driving economic growth. Equally, I think we are all also disappointed that not all SOEs, in terms of planning, not plans, in terms of planning, that we are not aligned to the NDP 6, fully aligned. We are around 70%, as we have been informed. Surely, Your Excellency, at our next session, you will see a different picture altogether. We did not come to debate the problem. We came to own the solution, which have kept us busy for the best part of this engagement and this dialogue. As we bring this dialogue to a close, the path forward is clear, and allow me to reflect briefly on why this morning has mattered. The consolidated SWOT analysis presented to us laid the foundation honestly and frankly. We also need to do our own introspection. That's why it was necessary to reflect on the realities of the components of SOEs in that public service delivery space. It named our strength as public enterprises, but it did not shy away from the gaps and challenges that continue to constrain our contribution to national priorities. Your Excellency's keynote reflection then challenged us to convert that honest assessment into deliberate action, to move from identifying strategic reforms to actually prioritizing and implementing them. And the executive dialogue that followed briefly reminded us that no single institution delivers NDP 6 alone. As the old African proverb goes, quote and unquote, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Delivery depends on the alignment between government and public enterprises, on the strength of our collaboration, and on our willingness to be held accountable for measurable outcomes. The message we take from this room, Your Excellency, and also through our chairperson, we immediately have to arrange a closed session, and we were given assignments to identify policy gaps, policy bottlenecks, and report back to Your Excellency, not only on those bottlenecks, but also on the implementation, where we are supposed to be in the implementation of the various KPIs in achieving NDP 6. We are very clear on that assignment. Just coming to the task that has been given to me, now briefly, Your Excellency, I have to say we are grateful. We are really grateful that you did not delegate this invitation. It happens. No, we wanted you. We want to hear from your own mouth. As I usually say, thank you for coming down from the 4th floor to the ground floor, where things are happening. We are grateful for your presence, and we have been given a task. We are going to report through the chairperson as well as the EXCO team. To our Honorable Minister Shafuta, we won't say Erica. We are grateful equally for your presence. Thank you, and as well as also your engagement in this dialogue. We are thankful to the President that you directed the Minister. No, speak from the heart. This is the dialogue, engage yourself. So on behalf of the Cabinet Ministers, thank you very much for your contribution and also to clarify your peers, to really put everything into context, also to raise some of the new developments that we were not aware of, so that everyone can take it home. To Dr. Leage Hangala for setting the context so clearly, as acknowledged. You have nothing, you don't need to declare to anyone. And that was underlined in your message, frank and open. The only interest is the Namibian interest, especially in the corporate world. And here we are talking about public enterprises' contribution to NDP6. Thank you once again for your candid engagement and the message that we are taking home. On behalf of the chairpersons of the boards in that triangle, and to every CEO, board chairperson, the delegate, and students from our universities who contributed to the discussion, your participation is what turned an agenda into a genuine conversation. And it is on that note, and to the team, the protocol team, the technical staff, the caterers, some of them were put to task, surprisingly, and the members of the media, including those who followed proceedings online via the platforms. Thank you for the professionalism that made this day possible. Much of it unseen, but all of it essential. To the caterers in particular, I've already thanked them. Ladies and gentlemen, the true measure of this strategic dialogue will not be found in what we said this morning, but in what we do in the months ahead. Let us leave here committed to service delivery. And also to thank the man next to me. Denver, as always, thank you for moderating successfully this event. On that note, thank you.
It may not be customary to thank the person seized with the mandate of delivering the vote of thanks. However, Mr. Kahimise delivered such a sterling vote of thanks that he deserves another round of applause. Okuhepa Shinene. Your Excellency, distinguished delegates, that draws to a close the inaugural CEOS Strategic Dialogue with Her Excellency. May I please invite you to kindly rise for the singing of the African Union and the Namibian national anthems.
Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together.
Thank you very much. May I ask for your indulgence to just sit for one single moment, please?